in honor of Professor Famewo, our late past president of the Nigerian Society of Anesthetists, as well as the past president of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria. And also he was an icon of anesthesia specialty in the West African sub-region. I want to thank the Executive Committee of the NSA for this honor accorded me. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when my dear sister and chairman of the Professor Famewo Memorial Lecture Committee, Professor Fola Fakonle, contacted me barely 5 weeks ago that the LOC and NSA Executive Committee have nominated me to give this 4th annual Professor Famewo Memorial Lecture, I had no choice but to accept, and I did not take it for granted at all, because I actually have a personal relationship with Professor Famewo and his family, which spanned over 40 years, and I consider it indeed a honor. In this regard, I thank Professor Fola Fakonle for this challenge, and I hope my presentation today will justify the confidence that you repose in me, while I pray not to become half awake watching over an audience that are half asleep in the course of this lecture. The Nigerian Society of Anesthetists is an umbrella organization for all practicing physician anesthetists in Nigeria, with a prime objective of development and advancement of all aspects of the anesthesia specialty in Nigeria. The NSA became a standalone society 30 years ago as an offshoot of the Society of Anesthetists of West Africa, SAWA. And it is noteworthy to state that I was one of the founding members of the new look NSA. And Professor C. Famewo, who we are honoring today, was the first elected president of NSA at the scientific conference held in 1992, following the last SAWA conference that held in Accra in 1991, before SAWA was dismantled. I also attended the last and winding up SAWA conference in Accra as a Nigerian delegate with others. That was in 1991, with others such as late Dr. Lawani Osunde, late Dr. Sahid Babayo, Martin Tiza retired, and indeed a host of others. And I made bold to state that we Nigerian delegates were hosted by the icon of anesthesia in the West African sub-region, late Professor DJ Fuskra, in her one-story Ghanaian family house, architectural piece in Accra. The challenge of workforce efficiencies has been a trending one, and the specialty of anesthesia and anesthetic manpower training is not left out. It is an acceptable fact that the skill mix of available healthcare workers, especially in the sub-Saharan Africa, is grossly deficient. The brain drain involves the continued migration of doctors, including physician anesthetists, nurses, especially critical care nurses, and non-physician anesthetic providers and anesthetic technicians from Nigeria to richer countries such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, Canada, and to a lesser extent, the United States of America. This phenomenon has been rightly or otherwise described as the Japa syndrome. This has negatively impacted on the global healthcare delivery capabilities of these subsets of professionals and has reached alarming stage, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. The Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, calls for the achievement of universal health coverage, including access to quality surgical services. The surgical workforce, including surgeons, obstetricians, and anesthetists, is key to achieving access to safe, affordable, and timely surgery. However, most low and middle income countries do not have a great enough anesthesia workforce to ensure access to safe surgery. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me here to congratulate my dear sister and distinguished anesthesiologist par excellence, the immediate past president of the Nigerian Society of Anesthetists, Dr. Bisola Onoji Obembe, who was recently elected as the president of the Global Alliance for Surgery, Obstetrics, Trauma and Anesthetics Care, the G4 Alliance, in recognition of her immeasurable contributions to the development of anesthesia workforce as a global stakeholder with national and international interest. Again, I want to publicly thank Dr. Bisola Onoji Obembe because of her efforts, and through her, I was able to make a presentation to the United Nations General Assembly in 2020. Thank you very much. In order to interrogate the subject of this presentation, it will be necessary to take a cursory look at the personality of our teacher and relevant scholar being honored today, as well as his contribution to the workforce and research in anesthesia in our sub-region. Furthermore, a reminder of the history of anesthesia in Nigeria with a view to having an unbiased understanding of the anesthesia workforce development vis-a-vis the role of research efforts at strengthening the workforce will also be highlighted. The opportunities that abound with operating in an environment full of daunting challenges will also be mentioned in this presentation. Next, we'll go to the life and times of Professor Christopher Ekundayo, 5 Menwo. Nigeria, a conglomeration of several nationalities restricted within a delineated geographical area, embodying diverse cultures, has been justifiably described by many as the giant in the sun. However, ruling in the pains of home-ruled democracy, in the face of being the largest unit of black people on earth, it is endowed with human and material resources without measure. Out from the belly of the southwestern region of this great nation was born Professor Christopher Ekundayo on the 6th of July 1943, which I have put on the screen as the sunrise. He was born to the late Very Reverend J.K. and Mrs. C.I. Famewo. He did not only create a niche for himself as an elder scholar, teacher of teachers, encourager, and a trailblazer, but put the name of his native town of Isa-Ekiti on the nation's academic map before he was translated to the great beyond. His monumental contribution to training and research in anesthesia in Nigeria, coupled with being a past president of this noble Nigerian Society of Anesthetists and past president of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, must no doubt have informed the NSA to have considered him worthy of the memorial lectures. In summary, and for those who do not know about this great man who attended public schools right through to university, let's take a cursory look at the screen. As I mentioned, he was born at Isa-Ekiti, Ekiti State, on 6th of July 1943. He attended the famous class school at Do-Ekiti, from where he went to the Abuja Grammar School in Abuja. He was admitted, just like me, to the Premier University of Ibadan in 1963. He graduated with MBBS Ibadan in 1968. By 1970, he was admitted to the University of Toronto in Canada. And by 1973, he was awarded the Diploma in Anesthesia of the University of Toronto. Same year, he was awarded the Fellow of the Royal College of Physicians, Canada, in anesthesia. And Professor Famewo returned back to Nigeria by 1974, despite the fact that he was given option to remain in Canada to earn dollars, Canadian dollars, much more weightier than the Nigerian naira, but he returned home to UCH in Ibadan in 1974. Noteworthy to say that by 1979, Professor Famero established the pain clinic at UCH Ibadan, which was the first of its kind in Africa, south of the Sahara. He became an associate professor of anesthesia by 1984, and he was invited to Saudi Arabia, where he plowed his trade at the King Faisal University, Saudi Arabia, from 1940 to 1991. And he became a professor of anesthesia of the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, in 1991. In 1998, Professor Famero became the 9th president of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, as well as the first anesthetist to hold that position. Unfortunately, his son set on 7th January 1998. Professor Famero authored the famous book titled Lectures in Anesthesia and Intensive Care for Medical Students and Practitioners, which had become the gold standard for medical students in anesthesia. It was authored, the first edition came out in 1988, and second edition in 1994. Next, let's quickly go to my personal relationship with Professor Famero. You can see in this photograph, that's me as a lieutenant colonel, and I was standing just behind Professor Famero, like telling him that one day I'm going to talk about you, sir. You can see that photograph. My face still looks the same, isn't it? Don't look at other parts of the body, but focus on the face. My relationship with our late Professor Famero started over 40 years ago, when in 1980, as a clinical student at the University College of Ibadan, he was subbing undergraduate at the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan. And I had cause to ask for permission to travel to the headquarters in Lagos for some documentation. And I was going to miss some surgery classes. The dean of the Department of Surgery, late Professor Towola Sholanke, who I thought I had a relationship with too, because his daughter is my classmate, and we used to go to Prof's house every Sunday evening to have some beers, as it were, even though we were medical students. So I thought I had a good enough relationship with him. So when I approached Professor Sholanke that, sir, I need to go to the Army headquarters for documentation, and I will miss 3 or 4 days lectures. Prof shouted at me and said, which headquarters are you talking about? You are here as a medical student. If you don't want to be a medical student, go back to the army. And I was shaking that this man does not understand what I'm saying. I said I want to go for documentation, and he said no. His secretary had the way he was shouting at me. So the secretary came in and dragged me out of Prof's office and told me, don't argue with Prof at all. He's in a bad mood this morning. As a clinical student, do Dr. C. Famero is the subbing undergraduate. Go to him, and I'm sure he will give you the permission. Once we have a letter from a memo from the dean's sub-dean's office to this department, Prof would never say no to that. So based on this, I approached Dr. Famero then, and he listened to me. And he immediately took an interest in me as a serving Nigerian Army officer and a medical student. Later that same year, when I wanted to contest for the position of Deputy World Chairman of the Alexander Brown Hall, I sought his views and he encouraged me and he also prayed for me. The first time that a consultant, senior consultant, was praying for me, a medical student, a soldier, an army officer. I was then a second lieutenant. When I won the election, he invited me and the elected world chairman, Dr. Sly Gazeko, to his residence in the highbrow Abuja estate in Ibadan, where he gave us some tidbits on relationship with the college and UI authorities, among others. Permit me to say this. 2 weeks ago, our class set, we had our 40th reunion in UI, and when we went to meet with the Vice Chancellor, University of Ibadan, Professor Kayode Adebolale, who is also an MNI, I happened to be the one that spoke on behalf of the class, and I did make mention of one or two things with respect to how we were able to relate as clinical students going forward from the tidbits we received from Dr. Wsfa. By 1981,